Hello everyone. This video is of a dive I did at Stetson Bank, which is part of Flower Garden Bank's National Marine Sanctuary, which is in the Gulf of Mexico. Stetson Bank is a small rocky outcrop at between 50 and 100 or so feet deep, about 80 miles off of the coast of Texas. This dive I did was one of the last of a 3-day trip, and it was full of life. There was lots and lots of fish. It was wonderful. It was a little gloomy because it was early, 7 o'clock in the morning, but it was a beautiful day, and the waters were clear and still. So with that, let's jump in. And so begins this first dive of the day, bright and early, 7 o'clock in the morning or so, as you can see there. And as we head down, let's look and see where we are. We are at Stetson Bank, which is this small rocky outcrop I was describing in the intro there. Not very big, but a protected sanctuary, around 80 miles off of the Freeport, which is on the Texas coast. You can see there. If we zoom in, we can actually see the MV Fling just docked there, which is the boat we boarded to go out on this trip. So there I am, continuing to sink down to the bottom there, and here we are. Quite gloomy, so glad of my flashlight, but could see lots and lots of fish. Some sea urchins there, Longspine sea urchins. And I'll try and pick out some of the various species as we get to them. Queen angelfish briefly visible there. And those are Creolefish up ahead, the brightly coloured ones, looking a little red in my light there. That stripy one is a sergeant major. The yellow one is a Spanish hogfish in the middle there, with some more Creolefish with the spots on top, passing it by. Countless little fish, all swimming in and about, particularly I liked the sea urchins in particular. More Creolefish up ahead. Longspine sea urchins on the floor. Those were grey snapper we saw there briefly on the right. More sea urchins. Home for lots and lots of little fish. Some bits in the water here from something or other. Another Spanish hogfish down there. And a queen angelfish on the right. Creolefish up ahead. This murk was brief, fortunately. There's a blue tang in the middle there. And Longspine Squirrelfish to the right, two of them. A French angelfish up ahead, being followed by the Creolefish. We'll get a good look at him. And a rock hind briefly visible there, hiding in the rocks. Just see him there on the right, with the spots on top. Be careful using one finger to navigate my way around this area. It is protected, so we all must be careful. More French angelfish. Blackbar Soldierfish on the right there with a stripe just behind their gills. So this was a 39-minute dive in all. We had a maximum of 91 feet deep down here. It was relatively cool. About 79 at the surface. Down here at 91 feet, it got down to about 75 degrees. So, more squirrelfish up ahead there, and another French angelfish keeping them company. And spotted moray just hiding in the rocks down there. Just see that's his his nose on the right. Another Longspine Squirrelfish, 2 of them in fact, often seen in pairs. There's some grey snapper once again. A lot of sea urchins right here. So this was the 3rd day of a 3-day trip, and the 3rd dive on this particular part of the Flower Gardens Banks National Marine Sanctuary. The West Flower Garden Banks. More squirrelfish on the right there. See them quite well. Another French angelfish. You see all the life in amongst that sea urchin. So they love hiding in there. And then a queen angelfish. Very, very beautiful. One of my favorites. Another French angelfish. More long spine sea urchins behind him. Squirrelfish down there. Long spined. He had his spines down for a second there on his back. I think we're going to get a good look at him. So this was the last day. We were heading back at this point, having spent the previous 2 days on both the west and then the east Flower Garden Banks coral reefs for the first 2 days. It's my buddy Ken. He's okay. He's looking good, following me as usual. Tends to hang out just above me, keep an eye on things. And I like to get as close as I can to the life here so that I can try and capture it as best I can. Captured in UHD, 60 frames a second, so best viewed on a TV if you are able. The French angelfish. And I really enjoyed the moon-like scenery here, which as you can see in the early morning light, I thought looked very, very attractive. Surprisingly colourful, as you can see close up when I have my flashlight on it. More Creolefish down there. And fewer places for the fish to hide, almost nowhere for the fish to hide really in this particular landscape, which is one of the reasons why it's so popular to dive, because it's so much easier to see all the life. As you can see, there was lots and lots of it. You can see the rocky striations there, which I also found very attractive, heading away. And that right there is some coral. Not that much coral, not really a reef as much as such like West and East Flower Garden Banks, but nonetheless there is some brain coral with some sea urchins in between it, looking very healthy. This rocky outcrop is on top of a salt dome, a naturally forming formation where oil hydrocarbons push up what was the salt of a sea to form this sort of bulge, lifted up area, which then eroded to give this dramatic scenery here. You can see the water is very clear here. It's almost like it isn't there. But the gloom certainly makes my light necessary. Got better on the later dive when it was more sunlight. Another sea urchin. And a Spanish hogfish, very pretty. Squirrelfish and creolefish back there. So I really enjoy just weaving in and out of these natural canyons here and following the fish, exploring the life. Absolutely beautiful dive. Very, very enjoyable. I was glad of my dry suit, which I was wearing for this. Would have been cold without it, I think. Another Spanish hogfish. And a Yellowtail Snapper there. Very pretty. Some more coral right in front there. Rock Hind there, another one. And another rock hind down there bottom left briefly. So there are 2 mooring buoys that we can dive from on this this area. This is number 3, and there is a number 4, and it was number 4 that we were diving on the previous day, and so we used that to come down on to make it easy to get down. And the previous day there was a bit of a current at the surface, which made it a lot of work to get down, but this morning it was very still, so thankfully almost no current at all, and nothing at all at the bottom, as you can see. It was just absolutely lovely. $77 down. Creolefish. Moving my light there because I needed to adjust the air on my dry suit. One challenge with holding the camera in my right hand and needing to adjust the air on my dry suit with my left means having to wave the light away briefly in order to maintain my buoyancy and stay the height above the floor here that I wanted. And continuing to enjoy just this this fabulous landscape along with the other divers. My buddy Ken still behind me and thoroughly enjoying the dive as well, as you saw. Gave the double OK symbol, meaning he's having a grand old time. I gave him one back. Another yellow snapper down there on the left, all shiny. And these are mostly Creolefish. Very, very pretty in my light, I think. And a blue tang in the middle there, in amongst all the Creolefish. Another rock hind. Squirrelfish down below. And continuing to explore the canyons, you can see it's getting a little lighter. This was the penultimate dive. And we had one more after a 2-hour surface interval after this one. And then we headed back the 80 miles back to Freeport, which took around 6 hours or so. yellow snapper up ahead. Some Creolefish, keeping them company. A couple of divers over there, around 30 of us altogether. Some 13 of which were from one of the Houston scuba diving clubs I'm a member of, CHUM, Central Houston Underwater Mariners, and it was a CHUM organised trip. So, a lot of fun to dive with your friends. Rock Hind there, popping out. So I look at him. So many little fish. I was trying to capture them in my light. Squirrelfish there. Trying to capture the colours as well. $1,670 air left out of there. Started with a little over 3,000 psi. Oh, French angelfish again. So about halfway through this dive. Aim to come up with 800 or so. Started with 3145. She came up after my 3-minute surface interval with 919 psi on this dive, so well within the intended dive plan. Quite good for 39 minutes altogether, like I was saying, mostly around, well, that one's 68 feet right there, as you can see. So 60, average depth was 65 feet on this dive. So a lionfish up ahead, an invasive species, not a popular sight. Rather, they weren't there. Nitrox, once again on this dive, 26% on this particular one. They were having trouble putting enough oxygen in the tanks on board at this time. So targeted 32%, but yeah, 26 on this one. So nitrox being regular air with additional oxygen added, so 21% is the normal amount of oxygen in the air we breathe, and then more added when the tank is filled, up to a targeted, like I say, of 32%, 26% on this one for me, but allowed for plenty to allow for a no decompression dive. Of course, no problems at all. I also prefer nitrox, even if I didn't need it for lots and lots of dives. Like on this particular one, there were 11 dives on this 3-day trip, so who do we have here? I think these are Sergeant Majors. There's a few of them. I prefer nitrox anyway, even if I didn't need it, because I find the nitrox makes me less sleepy. Although that's certainly what we did on the 2-hour surface intervals between the 11 dives we did on this 3-day trip. So what I did anyway, eat, nap, and then do it all again. It was wonderful. My 3rd time out to the Flower Garden Banks National Marine Sanctuary now, and will not be my last. It was absolutely great. so many fish. Sometimes see stingrays. I have done. The last time I was here, I saw some stingrays, and on the dive after this one, I saw some stingrays, but not this dive. But they are often there. There's a lot of Creolefish right there. Some greater Amberjacks swimming behind them. As well as a lot of grey snapper. There are the Amberjacks. And that is a great barracuda there we saw briefly. Lovely view of my buddy Ken there from above. Just see the line there laid down to help us navigate temporarily by the dive masters of the boat that morning. They placed it from where we came down on the mooring buoy to a reel that was hanging just below there over the edge. Help us to have something to navigate by, make it easier for us, help us not get lost, and also pick a prime spot for us to go visit, particularly those who've, for the first time. Again, there's Ken hovering above, keeping a watchful eye. And at this point, we started to head back. That was the highlight. So we followed that line. You can just see it stretching away there back to where we had descended. So you can see some of the divers on their ascent over there. You can just see the mooring line in the distance. And that's where we headed through these fish. And then a 3-minute safety stop, and then back up after an absolutely wonderful dive. Here's the team. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to please like and subscribe.